A spectacular performance. Curry from half court. Sometimes, something looks like it's been there a while.
We're here after a 2-week hiatus. The boys, the three of us, are back all together. The last episode was done by yours truly, Wesley. He solo manned it. He carried us. He carried us on his backs.
That's not what yours truly means.
Okay, correct me. How was I? How was I supposed to? How was I supposed to do it?
You say yours truly, it means that it was done by you. So if Wes was saying it, you could say by yours truly.
But
oh yeah.
But I was doing yours truly, and then I said
Bro, is
Wes.
glazing himself.
Yours truly kind of pointed towards Wes. All right. I fumbled the intro, guys. I fumbled the intro. But Wes was able to take that episode by himself. It was a really we coordinated it. We were like, man, Wes, make sure you could handle it for us. And he handled it. He went straight to business. So shout out, you gotta respect it. Unfortunately, Thomas and I were busy that week, so we weren't able to show up. But we're here now. That's all that really matters. So the playoffs are in full swing, baby. It's like jam-packed action. I would say the only series that kind of sucks are about 2-3 of them. The Thunder Pelicans, basic, lame. Thunder doing their thing. The Timberwolves Suns, surprisingly, not many people thought to go 3-0. Not many people thought, hey, the Suns are gonna get swept. The Nuggets Lakers, I mean, it's not like that series sucks. I guess it gets more into talking about each game individually, but it's not that it sucks, but on the score line, it does suck. A gentleman's sweep, probably. It's going to be our prediction later in the video. And I guess the Cavs and Magic is like the battle of the mid. Battle of mid. It's like, who's...
I mean, in terms of entertainment, you got to admit, it's pretty much been the best series out of all of them.
Ooh, I would disagree. I think the Clippers and the Mavs is better.
That's the what? That's exactly what I was saying. That's exactly what I was saying.
Cavs and the Magic.
Clippers Mavs is battle of the mid. Oh, I'm my bad.
Ooh, let's get back into our podcast brain, guys. Ooh,
my bad.
Yikes!
It's completely misheard you.
Literally completely misheard. That's why I was kind of like, "What?" Okay, bro.
Okay, wait, you know what? Cavs. Okay, wait. CM. Okay. Cavs, Magic, Clippers, Mavs. Same.
I guess.
Yeah,
fair. I mean, I was like, wow.
Also, Mavs, Cavs.
I kind of got worried for a second because I was like, no, I swear I'm watching the games. Like maybe I'm like missing something really obvious. So is my statement factual though? The battle of the mids for Cavs and Magic.
Or battle of the great defenses, I would say.
I mean, yeah. I mean, battle of disappearing.
Not to jump ahead, but I don't think either of those teams are doing that much the rest of the playoffs. So.
Yeah. Anyways, so we're not gonna we're not gonna dive deep individually yet. We just wanted to give a quick overview of what's been going on. The Warriors are obviously not here, so a little bit of lack of enthusiasm on that part.
It's our area of expertise, unfortunately.
So anyway, so I think our structure will just be dive in each round individually and just kind of give our takes, give what's up, what's going on, some bullet points, and we got 8 of them. So let's get started. Let's just start. We're looking at the NBA.com playoffs bracket. Editor, if you could put an image of that'd be nice. We are gonna start with the top left, the Thunder and the Pelicans. Currently, OKC leads 3-0. Many people probably saw that coming. It's unfortunate that the Pelicans did not have Zion. He's obviously a huge piece of that offense, and it would have been tough to stop him because the Thunder lack size, right? Chet, skinny. He is tall, but he's skinny, right? If Zion was able to, he was literally bodying AD in the play-in game. I think Chet would have had a lot of struggles with Zion. It's an open floor. Why don't you guys chime in? Anyone start chirping, and we'll go from there.
Okay. I mean, I'll start off. Thunder, not enough scores. They have CJ, they have Brandon Ingram, and neither
Pelicans?
giving them more than 20.
Thunder.
Wow.
Okay,
Oh,
guys,
lock in.
Ooh, Tom's
Look, to
0
our
for 2.
audience, look, it's been a week and a
2.
half since we recorded. Okay, it's like, look, it's the first time you take a. You ever been to a park after not playing for like 3 weeks? You put up a couple of shots, they're no good, and then you get in a rhythm. Everybody it's how it goes. Anyways, Pelicans don't have enough scores. You got Bi, you got CJ. Neither of them is going to give you more than 20 a game. At least not they haven't so far this series, and that's not good enough. If you're a team in a playoff series, you don't have a single guy who can give you at least 25 a game, unless you're like a truly elite defensive team like the Knicks or the Magic. You're just not going to go that far. They're two guys. They need to have Trey Murphy and Herb Jones on the court a lot because those two guys are the linchpins of their defense and they provide shooting. Neither of them are really capable of getting stuff for themselves, attacking in the way that you'd want them to. You compare that to a team like the Thunder, who have a ton of you have Jalen Williams and SGA and Chet and what's
Lu Dort.
it's Udor. One more guy I'm thinking of. I guess Giddey doesn't provide you any defense. The point is they have three
Wallace.
guys who are going to both, and Case and Wallace, actually that's four guys who are going to play like tenacious, tough defense on one end and then go down and actually be able to attack on the other end. That's two more of those guys than the Pelicans have. Not to mention the fact CJ is, as always, an absolutely disastrous defender, and that doesn't help anything. And also, let's be fair, like Bi, I don't think he's not in like the absolute bottom tier defenders, but he's not a particularly great one, especially when you consider the physical profile he has. I don't think he maximizes it on defense. And finally, you can think about Jonas Valanciunas, who's just been getting absolutely cooked on closeouts by the Thunder's, their younger, more athletic, lankier core. He's basically been played off this, despite being a big positive on offense. He's basically been played off the court in the series because of that, because he's so incapable of staying with their guys on the perimeter. So it's just a lot of things working against the Thunder that make it really difficult for them, I think, to even take one game. I doubt they're going to get further than 4.
Yeah, after game 1, it kind of seemed like the series is going to be a lot closer than it is because like that game was decided by a few points. I want to say. I think like Chet missed
it was a really close
1 3
game.
or
It
missed
was
a free throw.
94-92.
It was a close game. Yeah, and I mean this has been really entertaining, even though they're up 3-0, just because the Thunder they're so inexperienced. Even though they're the number 1 seed, there's such little experience on the playoff stage for guys like Shea, Chet, Lu Dort, J-Dub, of course, Jalen Williams, Isaiah Joe, kind of all these guys. Even though they excelled in the regular season, like we saw them against us, they kind of cooked us, but we weren't really sure like how well their game would translate into the playoffs. And it's kind of just been like incredible how like deep this team is. I think like looking at teams like seamless. I think looking at teams like OKC and the Timberwolves, like that's kind of like the benchmark for how you should build your team, and not teams like the Suns, for example. But yeah, kind of looking at the Pelicans game plan, or OKC's game plan for the Pelicans. They're kind of just like locking up all their best players. Like Bi, obviously, I think he could be a good hub to an offense. Like I think in 2022, when the Suns were like 60 wins and they were cooking, they faced the Pelicans in the first round, and Bi was like barbecuing them, and that was with like Mikal Bridges, who's like a great defender. But what the Thunder have is, I think, better size than that Suns team had. Like Lu Dort, he's obviously shorter than Brandon Ingram, but he's such a big defender. Like he's such a big guy. You can kind of just look at him and tell he's kind of like Shea's size, but like just a whole lot buffer. So he can kind of just like bother Bi's game, because Bi's game is based off
too. It's really it's tough to move him.
Literally, I mean, Bi's game is based off a lot of just like pull up middies, which he's very efficient at. Like he's a great scorer, but I don't think like with a good defender like Lu Dort just matches up perfectly well with Bi, and taking Bi out of the game, then the New Orleans Pelicans offense kind of just falls apart, because from there it's kind of like CJ's your second option, I guess. But CJ, he's like avoiding getting the ball. He does not want the ball because he knows either J-Dub or Shea or some other elite defender is going to be hounding him.
Wallace.
So Keyshawn Wallace, of course.
Yeah.
And I think this, like without Zion, this team's offense is just not built for the playoffs, unfortunately, especially against like an elite defensive team like this OKC Thunder's team is. So yeah, I think it's going to be a sweep in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But,
yeah, just writing off what you guys are saying. It's funny because when your number 1 offensive guy, which is Bi when Zion's not there, hasn't had a single game with over 20 points, and your second option guy, which is CJ, has only had 1 game with 20 points. The rest all under 20. And it's funny because what else are you going to like? What I mean, who else is going to rise up and score you those 20+ points per game, right? When you look at Thunder's side, it's just offensively they're so much better. Their number one option, obviously, Shea, right? Probably the runner up to the MVP. 28 points. Then casually 33 points. And then after that, another nice, humble 24-point game. Now, the Pelicans don't have anything like that without Zion. So,
Yeah.
offensively, they don't have it. And then defensively, they have two great defenders. They're so lanky, bro. I swear to God. Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. But
Herb Jones, yeah.
yeah, so
Great pairing, but
sorry, can you repeat that?
I just think
Great
great pairing, but very, very obviously built to function around an offense that has Zion on it and not an offense that doesn't. Because like I was saying earlier, like they're just not going to create that much if they have to be the third and fourth guys as opposed to the fourth and fifth guys.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, this series would be way more interesting if Zion was healthy because then I think Zion would probably draw. He would draw Lou Dort, and then I don't know who they're putting on BI and then I don't think even Lou Dort can stop Zion even slowing down, to be honest. So
nope.
That would be.
I think it'd be Chet on Zion, honestly.
And that would be barbecue chicken for Zion.
It would be tough.
Well,
like, I think Chet, he'd probably be facing foul trouble a lot too.
I mean, Chet's long, but so is AD. And he was eating AD alive. Like it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like I cannot. When that playing game was going on, he was really moving AD. It was crazy. This guy's 6'6".
Yeah.
So, me for real out there, bro. I swear to God. So, pretty.
But it's really cool to see like, Shea's like game is completely translating to play. Like I was kind of worried like he kind of had like an all right first game until like the last 4 minutes. He just like turned it up in the clutch. Like he got close. Nobody was able to make any shots, and then Shea just like turned it up. Like I remember like one of the last. I don't think it was the very last possession, but I think it was the last minute of that game one. He passed it to like he was just so comfortable. He seems so comfortable in the play. He's not fazed by like Herb Jones or Trey Murphy. You guys are just other guys that he has to barbecue. I remember in like the last minute he gave the ball to J-Dub, and then J-Dub set a screen and he got a ball, and then he had a switch, and then he was just barbecue chicken. He got I think an N1 in that final minute to ice the game.
No, he's a killer,
built
man.
He's
unbelievable. And I think it's just interesting to think that if Zion was here, I still see the Thunder taking it, but I see it to be a really solidly competitive series. Really solidly competitive. And that would have been really exciting to watch. It's unfortunate we couldn't watch that, but see the Thunder taking it at 4. It's the first seed doing first seed things. You love to see it. You love to freaking see it. Now let's move just one notch down in the playoff brackets. We're going to go over the Clippers and the Mavs, baby. What a thriller. My best series award goes to the Clippers and the Mavs. It's just been so much fun. It's been so much fun. Like Luka's turned it up. Kyrie's turned it up. Harden, he's been hooping. I mean, he had a spectacular game today. Unfortunately, like the one thing that does make me a little bit sad is when I see like Westbrook and he's just so washed now. Like again, his role is not
so bad, man.
His role is not to like lead a team to a chip now, but dude, when we were youngins, he was a hooper. He was a menace. And now he's just he's so washed up, man. It's just
an old head.
He's an old head. It's the natural process of aging. The unstoppable force. It's an unstoppable force no matter what we do. Not to get philosophical on y'all, but tough to see that with Westbrook. But overall, thrilling series. It's two games apiece. I did also want to say before we started digesting all the series, and unfortunately we couldn't say it before the playoffs began, because I did want to say the number one rule of thumb that I go by, and I've mentioned this to Thomas and Wesley a lot, is that when a series begins, when an away team wins a match. And we saw that. We saw that in many series.
You didn't make that up, bro.
I know I didn't make that up. I heard this from I don't know where I heard this from, but I totally agree with that statement. Right now, you look at the Clippers and the Mavs.
Facts.
That's going back and forth. Like today, the Clippers won away. So did the Clippers. But if you look at, for example, the Cavs and the Magic series, the Cavs won 2 at home. Then they lost 2 away. So that series is still ongoing. And I just got a message saying that my internet connection is unstable. Unfortunate as hell. I don't know if I'm lagging. I probably am lagging.
Yeah, A little bit,
Your
a little
audio is
bit.
not really lagging, but your video is very.
Okay,
lagging.
so if my
Your
video's
Video
audio
is
not
like
lagging-
completely cooked. You could actually probably turn off your video. That might help.
All right, maybe I could do that. But my audio is still
I don't have
working,
to see your face.
See.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually
All right.
better now. Way better now.
All right, chill. I'll try to keep my camera off then, I guess. So, yeah, as I was saying, so it's interesting to see like the Pacers and the Bucks are going on right now. If the Pacers win today, again, the series really hasn't begun. An away team needs to win. So, the Clippers and Mavs,
Didn't they win the first game?
the
Didn't the Pacers
Pacers
win the first game in Milwaukee?
They did not.
they did not.
They
Or
did
the
not.
second game then?
I think you're right.
No
They won the
way.
second game. I think you're right.
They won one of
Yeah,
the first
yeah,
two
yeah,
games.
yeah.
So,
I think you're
Yeah,
right.
they did.
So that series has also begun. So the only series that hasn't begun yet, according to this rule, is the Cavs and the Magic. So hey man, can we get that series to start? Thanks so much. So going back to the Clippers and the Mavs.
I've always found it a little bit. I've always found the rule a little bit dumb because you can technically have a series that goes 7 games without ever quote unquote starting
Yeah,
under
exactly.
that rule.
And then
pretty
game
ridiculous.
7 begins. That's when it starts.
No, but then game 7. No, but then game 7, the home team would win,
And then the series
would be
never
done,
began.
and the home team would have won, and it would have never started.
The series never started. It's unfortunate the series
Okay, well,
never started.
anyways,
So,
so the 2016 finals, nobody really won that.
why would you
It never
mention that?
started.
an away
Why
team
would you
won.
mention
It never
An away
started.
team won. Oh my god. An away team won. That's actually heartbreaking. Why
Oh
would
wait,
Why would
oh
you-
wait, yeah.
Bro, why would you?
Why would you mention that
Literally
unwillingly as a
So
Warriors
unnecessary.
fan?
Oh my god, you're gonna ruin my day.
I thought I
And
said
it-
something.
I block it out of my mind so consciously all the time, and then this guy has to remind me of it. Oh my god,
And it wasn't
Ooh,
even
wow.
like it proved
dude,
any
why
point.
did you
episode
turn
is-
your camera?
episode is
even-
Yeah, yeah.
destroyed.
It didn't even prove any point. It was just like to like cut a freaking. All right, bro. Anyways, so let's kind of come back to the Clippers and the Mavs. It's just been a goddamn thriller. Like Kyrie and Luca have just been so good together. Honestly, I didn't buy into their duo. I really didn't, but it's just been so good, and their role players have been playing really well. PJ Washington, he's been hitting his shots. I kind of texted it in the chat like that old what's that girl's name? Brittany. No, I don't know what her name is, but whatever. I made a stupid joke that like that the girl that his baby mama, she was affecting him
Oh.
in Charlotte. But as soon as he left Charlotte, he got away from her. Sheesh. He's back to hooping, baby. He's a good quality player to a team that's trying to make a run, and he's been doing his thing. Kleber, I don't know how you say his name. He's been hitting his shots. He's been doing well.
Cleveland, I think.
Kleba. And they've just been doing well. I think for the Clippers, it's unfortunate that Kawhi, like, he was obviously injured today.
I mean, he's just been just hobbled, like in the worst
Yeah.
possible way. Even when he's been on the court, it's been
Yep.
pretty sad to see.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like talking about this series, I think it has to kind of begin and end with like these are both teams who have older offense first stars who are not that great on the defensive end. And you're going to get a lot of games that are going to come down to them going back and forth at each other, making buckets like we saw today, like we've seen down the stretch in basically every one of these games. It's been slightly different guys stepping up every time, but especially the ends of these games, it has not been these teams getting stops against one another. It's been these teams getting buckets. It makes sense when you look at who's on the roster. Like, Paul George probably not going to be contained that well by Maxi Kleber. James Harden probably not going to be contained that well by Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving probably not going to be contained that well by James Harden and Luka Doncic. Or what the fuck? No. What am I talking about? Harden and what's his face?
Norman Powell.
Amir Coffee, Norman Powell, whoever you want to say. And same thing for Doncic. Like they don't have the guys to defend each other, and it's been very obvious. So in that sense, I do think it's going to partly just come down to which offense can execute better in crunch time. Today, Luka Doncic took a back seat. He was letting Kyrie cook. Kyrie's cooking, but unfortunately for Kyrie, the Clippers' offense was literally unstoppable down the stretch. Like they literally had, I think, the last like 10 possessions, it was probably 9 buckets. I think that one was the one that Harden missed one floater. Other than that, it was a bucket every single possession. Now, some of that was probably not sustainable, like that PG3. I mean, it's going to be on every highlight reel forever, but I mean, if you give him that shot again next game, he might
He's
not hit
nice,
it.
bro.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
nice.
He's nice. He's nice. I've been saying he's nice forever.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna hit the
But
side of the backboard.
Point, dude. Honestly, when it went up,
Hey,
I
keep your
was
camera
like,
off. Keep your
I
camera
mean,
off.
I was so pissed actually. I was so pissed when it went up because I was like, oh my God, he's really gonna sell this game with that dumb shot. And then it went in, and hey, it's all good. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think this is the best type of series. It's gonna come down to some of the best offensive players in the league, saucing it up, trying to cook each other.
Tossing it up.
It's
Yep.
it's fun. It's fun to watch. No
Yeah.
defense, no defense required.
Dude, this feels like
Yeah.
the opposite of Cavs Magic, where it's just like two
Exactly. Yeah.
insanely good two good like offensive duos versus each other, and there's not really. I mean, they both have kind of pretty solid role players. Like it's not like insanely it's not like terrible, I guess, but it's not like the star. That's not the
It's not Suns level,
emphasis
that's for
of the
sure.
series. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of my main point. But like the
Yeah.
back doesn't fall off after Luka and Kyrie or after Paul George and Harden. But yeah, this series is just fun to watch. These two kind of great offensive duos kind of just go head to head and just battle it out. I guess it's just fun shot making, beating guys off the dribble. That's fun to watch, and it's good to see Harden. Not completely rest like his brethren, Westbrook, unfortunately. But Harden's having a great series, Paul George's having a great series, and then Luka and Kyrie. Dude, Kyrie's finished that one finish where
Oh
he
my
there's like a
God.
slow motion where he like there's like three hands and then he just like hangs there.
That was nasty.
Kyrie's incredible. Kyrie's having
Yeah,
a
I mean,
great
it's gonna.
series,
That was probably in a game like even considering that Paul George shot, that might have been the most impressive play that happened down the stretch.
honestly, yeah.
Obviously, it's probably not gonna get the credit because he was on the losing end. But man, that was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just beautiful. I literally could not. I mean, I was like, my mouth was open when he hit that. That was another one where I was like, what is he doing? Why would you take that? But it goes in.
Dude, yeah,
I mean, and that's what happens when you have guys that are this skilled. Like they're gonna make some shots like that, and that's what's so fun about about hoops. That's why I love basketball.
yeah.
Yeah,
You said
I-
But yeah, I mean,
that's it.
oh, sorry, I was just gonna say one more thing. Like to me, what this suggests is two things. Like if and this is a big if Kawhi comes back and is slightly better than the version that we saw in games like 2 and 3, I think based on what we've seen, that could probably swing the series in the Clippers' favors. But I don't really think it's going to happen. So, secondly, what I think we're going to see is the classic, the best type of discussion debate series. Which duo has it? And I'm very excited. It's really going to come down to literally which of these pairs of guys can be the better shot makers down the stretch. I'm by far the most excited for the next 3 games in this series than I am for the other ones. And I say 3 because I really do think it's going 7. But yeah,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I hope you said Luka kind of took a backseat to Kyrie. I kind of hope that their offense kind of flows as it has been so far in these playoffs, because it's not been like completely Luka heliocentric and then like Kyrie's just like an off-ball guy. Like they kind of take turns, and then like if Kyrie's feeling himself like he was in the fourth and like throughout the second half, then you kind of just defer to Kyrie and let him like cook and like hopefully carry you to the win. I hope that's how they do it, because I mean that's like the ideal situation where they can kind of like pick and choose their spots, because they're two great gifted offensive guys, so they can kind of just like pick their spots, and if they have it going,
Yeah.
then they have it going. And then also, to be honest, I don't think Kawhi's been like a huge swing factor, unfortunately, in this series. Like you said, he's super hobbled, and you can tell he's not like super aggressive or great defensively. It's kind of just he's kind of like
that's what I was
normal
saying.
player.
Is like you would in this, the most optimistic scenario, you would hope that getting this game off and then getting like I think it's gonna turn to like a 4-day break for him, basically. Like that would allow him to come back and be slightly better than he has. Maybe like a 15 points a game guy or whatever, who can lock in on defense. If that doesn't happen, like I said, that's when you get the other scenario, which I think is more likely, that it's going to be each of these duos going against one another. Which again, I'm down for, because that's going to be incredibly entertaining.
Yeah, I think it absolutely was summarized perfectly by you. It's or Wes, one of you two. It's just two great offenses going at each other. Not very great. Neither of them have like superb defenses, and that's what makes it so much fun, because it's really just like going to the freaking courts. It's just street hoops. That's what it really is. It's just
Literally.
it's literally just what's the term, man? Oh man, I haven't played basketball. It shows how long.
Street ball, just what?
Like, yeah, I guess street ball. Like, what do you say when you play basketball and you're like, oh man, like that's not a foul. This. I guess street ball. Oh man, I really haven't played basketball in that long. I'm
That's
forgetting
kind
the
of
Yeah,
term.
street
it's
ball.
just
Like you
street ball,
play,
street
you
ball,
play
yeah.
through it. You just
Yeah,
play through
something
it.
like
Yeah.
that, I guess. But really, it's just street ball. So you love to see it. That's why it's the most fun, right? High scoring
Yeah,
games, flashy threes, step back threes, crazy acrobatic lays. Always going to be more entertaining than, ooh, another great defensive stop. Ooh, another great defensive stop. And it's just back and forth of great defenses. Although when a bucket is made, then it's a lot more gratifying, right? Because it's just like,
Oh
that,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a constant pressure building up. But
It reminds me
obviously,
of another game that like where there's just a bunch of stops and like eventually one bucket kind of just like it means everything because
are you talking about soccer?
it's been a minute since a different game. But you guys might know it. A certain
Do you have some kind of
another game.
problem?
I don't get
Nah.
it.
Okay, but
What is wrong with you?
Wait, what game?
okay, but
Oh, he's talking
in
about
summary,
the Gold Warriors and the Cavs. They're talking about
yeah.
Game 7, yeah.
Wow, that's actually wow.
But I mean that's true. We don't have
When
to
LeBron
like
got bailed out by Kyrie, by the way.
yeah, facts.
Important to note.
I
Good
mean,
way to
he had a
summarize. Good way to
superb
loop
series.
Kyrie
He had an
into
elite
this.
series. LeBron had an elite series.
Kyrie
What?
did it. Kyrie was insane.
Kyrie,
Yeah.
Kyrie
I mean,
hit
you're
the
right. No, you're
probably
right.
the
Sorry. I must misheard. Yeah, Kyrie did have a great series. It was phenomenal.
yeah. That's why Kyrie was the Finals MVP. So
I mean, down
like
the
I said,
stretch when
like we
Kyrie was,
said,
taking and hitting all the big shots,
Okay,
I
but
was just like, man, this guy's really
let's
special.
get back to the
if
Clippers
this
and the
series
Mavs.
goes seven, who do you got?
I got the
Thomas? You
Mavs in
trust James
7.
Harden in game 7?
Mavs in
You trust
7.
James Harden in game
You know
7?
me. You know me. I love James Harden. I love playoff P. I trust him. James Harden. Reality is, James Harden has had great playoff series against basically every team that's not the Golden State Warriors, and he's having another one this year, and he's going to continue to have one. Now, does that mean that this is like a lock for me? No, I mean I think this series is about as much of a toss-up as you can imagine. And the reality is, you're going to need James Harden. You're going to need playoff P to actually show up like they did today. And I mean, I guess if you're on the other side, the Mavs are going to need Kyrie to show up like he did today, and they're probably going to need Luka Doncic to get him a little bit more. Although I've already seen people saying he's injured. I mean, nobody gets excuses from the media like that guy does. So
It
I'm
just really
sure if
comes
he
down to who
loses,
has the
he'll be
better
MVP favorite
duo. And I think
again next year.
the
But
Luka Irving duo is better than the Harden Paul George duo. The Mavs have the
Yeah,
two
I agree.
best players on the court. The Mavs have the two best players on the court. So it just really comes down to who
looked
could
like
show
it
up.
today.
It did because it was an elite game today. It was a very, very close game, and yeah, unfortunately in the end, they couldn't really secure the win, but it was a very, very good game. So I have the Mavs in. Ooh, I have the Mavs in 6 or 7.
Dude, Kyrie put up 40. Kyrie put up
Yeah,
40.
he
I
had
didn't even
40.
realize.
Yeah.
That's
He
insane.
put up 40.
My
Yeah,
Muslim
still
taking
wasn't
Kyrie.
enough.
I'm taking that guy. Taking that guy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm taking the one-time champ versus the zero-time champs, Harden and Paul George. We're gonna be moving swiftly down to the next series, the Timberwolves and the Suns. Wow. First of all, just a kind of two words.
What a thriller.
Anthony Edwards. 2 words.
Dude, Anthony Edwards.
Wow.
Oh man.
Like wow. He's slowly becoming one of my favorite players in the league. He's so fun to watch. And it's funny because I really loved the clip where they asked him when he was trash talking to KD. He was like, "Man, everyone in the world knows that he's my favorite player, man." And to do that, it's just like it's just amazing feeling. It's an amazing, and it must have been right. Can you imagine that? Like, imagine like us freaking cooking Steph and then being able to talk trash to him. Like, wow, woo-hoo. Like I'm feeling excited just thinking about that. So insane. Their defense, insane. It's just really funny because. Oh man, another like Jaden McDaniels. Like wow. Like when in hindsight, when Anthony Andrews was like, they got KD, we got Jaden McDaniels. Everyone was like laughing.
He's like fine wine. Age like fine wine, bro.
Aged like fine wine. He has been such a big piece. Defensively, he's been so nice. Like offensively, he's even doing his thing. I feel like it's just such a nice combination of everything. They have good defense, they have good offense. Rudy Gobert, although he's a clown, he's just been so good for them too. Like just such a huge defensive anchor. And hey, guess what? They get that check mark for every championship team has an elite defender, a rim protector. Guess what? They have Rudy Gobert. So the Timberwolves are looking real great. And not to really jump into the next round, obviously they're going through. The only team that could really beat the Nuggets, I think, are the Timberwolves. The next round, which will be obviously the Timberwolves and the Nuggets, decides the playoffs, in my opinion. I'm just going to throw that in there. We don't have to really get into that yet, but I truly, like earlier today, I was talking to Bob, I was talking to my dad, and we were talking about how like the bracket looks right now. And when we got to like the Timberwolves and the Nuggets in the next conference semifinals, I literally feel so excited because it's just going to be such an elite matchup. Oh man, it's going to be an elite matchup. So I love how the Timberwolves have shaped up. They're underdogs. They've never won a chip. I mean, they are deep. They got good defense. They got good offense. I just shout out to them. Shout out and a round of applause. They're an amazing playoff team.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, you're talking about the Timberwolves. I guess I'll talk about the other side. Suns. It's a team composed of three guys. Two of which I love. One of which I'm not a big fan of. I've kind of compulsively rooted against the Suns last couple of years, but this year I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't like Devin Booker, but whatever. Like, put my old beef aside. I love me some Bradley Beal. Big KD fan. I was excited. But you watch them and it's just clear. They do not have a lead playmaker. They don't have anybody. They don't have. I mean, it's not even like a situation where you have to have like a Jose Alvarado on the court, like to do the playmaking, even though he's not providing you much else, or like a Monte Morris or whatever, like one of those type of guys. They don't even have that guy, so they have to rely on Devin Booker and Bradley Beal to be the lead playmakers. And neither of them are point guards. They're just not. They're not great passers. They don't look to pass. When they do look to pass, they're not that great at it. And they're not used to looking to pass because they're used to being the lead scorer. Not to mention you have KD, who's of course an even different archetype of player because not a guard. You don't expect him to be a playmaker, but I mean, obviously he's the ultimate like let me go get mine like ISO guy. So he's not gonna be doing any of that. Their offense is basically just a revolving door of ISO, 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 ISO. Whoever has the hot hand, like give it to him, let him try to cook his man. Is it fun to watch at times? Yeah, a little bit. Like down the stretch, like when Bradley Beal was really cooking that last game, was kind of fun because he's just like hitting step back threes over guys. You're like, wow, like damn, he's still good, but they're down because they can't get a goddamn stop. That's the other thing is like, okay, so sure, you have like your three offensive guys, none of them are gonna be playmakers, but maybe you can like kind of like wring a quality level offense just out of their skill. Then on the other end, neither of them are good defend. None of them are good defenders either. You have three guys on your roster. The three guys who are going to be getting the most minutes because they're your best players, and they're all below average defenders. KD at one point in his career was probably an average defender, but he's old now. He's slower. You could maybe say something about Bradley Beal. I mean, never a great defender, but maybe he was slightly below average at one point. Now he's well below average because, again, older, slower. Devin Booker, soft, doesn't give a shit at all, doesn't try, terrible defender. And those guys are going to be getting the three most minutes out of anybody on your team. And you don't even have people around them who are good defend. You have to throw out Royce O'Neal, terrible
Grayson
defender,
Allen.
can't defend the point of attack. Yusuf Nurkic, slow, I admit, has had some good moments this series. Not a great rim protector. Grayson Allen, tiny, slow, weak, just again, terrible defender. I mean, who else?
He's a shit too.
Piece of shit too. I mean, it's a joke of a roster when you really look at it. And I'll admit, I bought in. I was dumb, but I got to be honest now. Obviously hindsight's always 20/20, but it feels like this is something more people should have seen coming, including myself. When you really start to break it down, I mean, it's just a joke. It's a terrible roster the way they constructed it.
Atrocious roster. Yeah, and I was never high on the Suns. Never. I think we probably have an episode talking about the Suns. It's just a horrible team. And obviously now I'm like more confidently like, wow, they're a horrible team. But I was never high on them. Not a day in my life was I high on them. You could never have a championship team with just three street ballers and like no actual quality. You just got three street hoopers. Yeah, you send these guys to freaking our local basketball court. I'm not gonna dox ourselves. Yeah, man, they're winning it. They're winning it all. Woo! Real hoops, man. Like that one clip of Devin Booker. Hey, man, we need one. I want three. I want 2P. Yeah, okay, or three or whatever he calls him. Yeah, I mean that. Whew. At the local court, that's gonna be running. but not in the goddamn NBA playoffs. It's just really embarrassing. And just wanted to add again, like I was looking at just like you want, oh my God, it's beautiful. You look at the Timberwolves like stats in every game, the points are so evenly distributed, and then you have Anthony Edwards leading the pack. This is a beautifully crafted team. They really have a chance to win the chip. I'm so high on them. I'm so high on them. I swear I'm so high on them. I'm really I may
like
just
less every second.
I'm I may really just I may really say it. I think they may be this year's champs. I really think it. If they play how they're playing in this series,
Stamp it.
I think they could
Are you
win
gonna
it all.
stamp it?
Their only competition
They
really
could, or-
is.
That's not. These could.
That's true. It's a cope way to say it. It's cope to
Anybody
be like
could.
they
I mean-
could. They could.
I mean, the Suns still could.
no. Okay, bro. Little bro. It
I mean, the
really
Suns
for me.
still could.
Look,
Yeah.
dude. I think
The Pelicans could.
okay, bro.
The Heat
All right.
could.
Okay, my co-hosts are making
Nah,
a,
if you
a
said-
mo- my co-hosts are
So
making
they
a mockery
literally
of
could.
me. My co-hosts are making a mockery of me. Look, I genuinely think the champ will be whoever wins the second round, in between the Timberwolves
Okay,
and
fair.
the Nuggets.
I can
That
see
is
it.
your
I could get
2024
behind
champ.
that. I could get behind
That's your 2024 champ, and I really want the Timberwolves to win. I freaking love them. I love them. I'm so high on them.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful roster because if you, man, I don't really want to dive into like details of the next round because I'm like itching to talk about their matchup with the Nuggets. But I guess in a TLDR one statement thing, Rudy Gobert
It's going 7.
could be on Jokic. No one else could guard Jokic. No one else could
Mm.
guard Jokic.
Brother, I have.
I don't think
Brother,
that's the game plan.
I have 47.
Look.
All-time favorite moment.
You have great. They
Wait,
have.
who said that? Who was like trash?
I
It was
think that
Jokic.
was
It was
I think it was
Jokic.
Jokic and Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert, he waved off the double. And Jokic was like, brother, I have 47.
Jokic
Look,
is so nice. Bro, that's so funny.
it's gonna be like I'm so excited for that series. I'm just beyond excited. So, Wes, we didn't give you a chance to talk about the series. We'll give you a moment before we move on.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I was just gonna say, like, as I alluded to when I was talking about the Thunder, the Suns is like the polar opposite of how you should build a team. Like, just like I think even before when they had like Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, Cam Johnson, and then Devin Booker as like the head of the snake, that was like that had more heart behind it than this team did. This team has like negative heart. I mean, it's just like ISO, like you guys said, just ISO every possession, and then I don't know. I mean, I just want to give some special shout outs to some guys on the Timberwolves who are playing above their I mean basically everybody's playing above their pay grade, I guess, even Anthony Edwards. Like going into the playoffs, we didn't really think Anthony Edwards, or we didn't really know what Anthony Edwards was capable of as the number one option on a playoff team. Like we saw a little bit in the 2022 playoffs, but this season, this series, he's outplaying 3 elite offensive players who all three of those guys have the keys to the team to kind of just like cook an ISO as best they can, but they're nothing compared to what Anthony Edwards is able to do on the defense. He's so much more quicker, athletic than all these guys. He has the utmost confidence of anybody on the team, and then that I feel like kind of similar to Shea with the OKC. That kind of confidence with your number one guy kind of just like permeates to the rest of the team. Like now because Shea was cooking an ISO, J-Dub, Chet, Isaiah Joe, they're all more confident. Just like with the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards is cooking in isolation and kind of barbecuing the defense, whatever the Suns defense try to throw at him. Now Nickeil Alexander-Walker is cooking in the corner. He feels all the confidence in the world to like shoot the wide open ones and then attack closeouts when they finally do kind of realize that Nickeil Alexander-Walker is like that. Same with Naz Reid. These other guys are kind of role players, but they're playing up. Like I think you guys said the stat sheet for the Timberwolves points is kind of very balanced, and I think that goes to show like how good Anthony Edwards is at getting other guys involved and kind of permeating the offense throughout the team. One last
It's
guy,
absolutely night and day with the Suns.
dude. Literally,
Sorry, I just interrupted you, but yeah, it's absolutely night and day with the Suns.
yeah. One last guy I did want to
Keep
give a
going.
special shout out to was Cat for his like not elite defense, I'll say. Like there's been moments where he gets kind of lost sometimes, and that's like the old cat showing, I guess. But he's been very good at like kind of containing KD as best he can. And I think it's gonna be key to this next matchup that Hassan was kind of talking about with the Nuggets. Like I think Cat's probably gonna be the guy on Jokic that Rudy Gobert can kind of roam. And that's if we get the same Cat that we got this series, I think the Nuggets are gonna be pushed to the brink. But that's for another day, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, just one more thing about the Suns. Like, if they run they have this stupid down screen play up. They run it every single possession. They take either Devin Booker or Bradley Beal. They have like somebody standing at the top of the key. They run a down screen, and they toss the ball to either Devin Booker or Bradley Beal coming off the down screen to set up an isolation. I swear to God, they run that like 50 to 100%. No, that's an exaggeration. I would say like 75% of their plays is literally just that, and then they get nothing else going the entire possession. It's just
And they also have an
it's
awful
absolutely
coach.
it's absolutely horrible. Yeah, I mean Frank Vogel's a clown. I love that whenever they pan to him on the sideline, he's just like blankly staring, like there's not like an NBA playoff game going on that he's coaching, like he's watching like a random pickup game or something. Like he has no he has no like control or affiliation to what's going on the court. He's just like a neutral observer. It's horrible.
I mean, he probably knows there's no
Yeah, I mean,
chance.
there's not much more you can say.
I mean, he knows
Yeah.
that this team's a clown show. There's nothing that could happen. And I think it's one of those things where it's like, hey, he's getting the paycheck. He got a chip already in 2020, unfortunately. So he's all good. He's all good. So unfortunate
Yeah.
that the Suns and KD disappointed. I'm very happy because I dislike 2 out of 3 of those players. Beal, I've never thought he's a winning player because he's just a scorer and he's not a good defender. And I've never liked just scoring and not good defenders. KD, don't like him. He's annoying. He's a snake. And he's just kind of annoying. He's really annoying and a B word for lack of better words. Booker, oh my God, the most punchable face in the goddamn universe. Like wow, like wow. It's like one of those kids in high school that I know for a fact just so insufferable to be around. Like wow, yikes. So shout out the Timberwolves. Shout out. Just
Yeah,
shout out.
one last guy I do want to give a shout out to. I don't know if you guys talked about him, but Mike Conley was like or has been incredible so far. Like in the non-Anthony Edwards minutes, you don't have to be scared about they don't have a ball handler. Like Mike Conley has been able to safely kind of float the ship
Yeah.
and kind of get
Old man
serviceable
Conley.
offense. Dude, literally, I mean the Suns.
Yeah, I mean you're seeing it.
He's the guy the Suns need.
Not to jump ahead. Actually, well, I mean whatever. I think it's a real point to make. But you're seeing it
let's
also
not jump
like,
ahead here.
with Kyle
Let's not
Lowry
jump
and the
ahead here.
76ers. Anyways, you're also seeing it a little bit with Kyle Lowry in the 76ers series. Obviously, they're probably going to lose that series, but same thing. It's a veteran point guard, a guy who's certainly a shell of the player he once was, but has retained the playmaking abilities and I guess just kind of generally the ball IQ to run an offense, even if physically they're not the same guy anymore. It's nice to see, you know. But anyways,
Really is.
we'll talk
It
more
really
about that
is.
series later.
We will talk more about the series later. Beautiful scenes. Timberwolves, I love you guys. Please continue hooping. The only one thing I'm worried about them is that their inexperience in the playoffs, of going deep into the playoffs, may come and bite them in the behind. Because really no one on that roster has really deep playoff experience. Ant doesn't, Cat doesn't, Rudy Gobert doesn't. So
Yeah.
it's tough to see. That's the only reason why the Nuggets really scare me, because they have that deep playoff experience. They are the ultimate professionals. They know how to win a chip. So it's the only factor I'm really worried about. But more on that later.
Yeah.
Now let's go over to the Nuggets and the Lakers. I will have to clarify some things because I got blocked a night or two ago. Wes doesn't even know this. So after game 2, so I'll explain what happened was. So after game 2, and Jamal Murray hit, what a shot. What a game-winning buzzer.
Dude, that
beater.
was
Like, wow. And he was having an awful game. He really wasn't having a good game. He said it himself. Like, I was taking terrible shots, but shut up when it matters. And then when 80 just fell into that crowd, that was Jeff's kiss. Like, wow. Beautiful.
yeah,
But
I saw that the first time, bro. That was hilarious.
that I know, watching it live
Actually
was
had me
really
dead.
funny. So, okay, I have to clarify something. So, after the game winner and after that, and then after game 3, I think I had said something along the lines of NGL, no, ICL. I can't lie. Can't lie, guys. I kind of wanted Lakers to win the series. Now, what immediately ensued was no
Oh,
response
your
by
parlay or
Thomas.
something?
Nothing. No. What ensued was Thomas didn't respond, which was surprising because like in the group chat he was online and he's always popping responses and I knew he was gonna have a seizure. No response from him. Okay, kind of odd. Wes responds something like "what" or something like "wow, whatever, you're stupid" or something like that. And whatever. And Thomas kind of magically goes offline, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Didn't think much of it. 3-4 hours later, I messaged Thomas. I'm like, hey man, on DMs, I was like, hey man, let's run up some D2, some Destiny 2. We back into it. It's Destiny 2 era. Shout out. And the message I get was, you cannot text this individual. You are currently blocked. I was like, oh my God. I was like, hell no, bro. This dude blocked me in 0.5 seconds. Literally in 0.5 seconds. So I call his phone. He's like, take it back right now. Take it back right now. I was like, bro. I was like, look, bro, calm down. There's context. There's context to the situation. Here's the context. I have a soft spot for severe underdogs and severe underdogs. Always. Now, let me
So there's no
clarify here.
context.
Let me clarify. Do I want the Lakers to win the chip? No, not at all. Not absolutely not. But I don't want the Nuggets to win compared to the other underdogs like the Timberwolves and the Thunder, because I want one of those two teams to win because they're young, they're severe. Not many people think they could win the chip because of their lack of experience. If they were to win, it would be a new winner, and it would be a beautiful thing. So I kind of wanted the Lakers to kind of knock them out, and especially after seeing game
Knock
one and
them
game
out?
two. The Nuggets.
But like knock them out? Like out of the playoffs?
Yeah, I kind of wanted the Lakers.
You want
to
the
win
Lakers
series.
to advance?
I kind of wanted the Lakers to advance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
And
And
it's-
it's just, I don't know what to say.
It's unfortunate. I know it's unfortunate, but look. Although I will say this,
you guys comment down below if you want to be the new host. We're taking applications now.
Max. Like literally, please.
Although I will say, like, seeing like Anthony Davis and then all the Lakers fans crying, and it's just basketball at the end of the day. Hashtag go and take a breather. Like all that stuff, it does bring happiness to my heart. It really does. So I do hate the Lakers. Don't get me wrong, guys. I really feel like I feel disappointed. Like I feel like I did something really wrong, and I know I did something wrong. But
You did, yeah.
I know I did. I know, and I apologize. But I really, and then what made me feel even worse was that no. When did I start saying that I kind of want the Lakers to win? It's because they're severe underdogs, and they were really keeping up with the Nuggets. And it just, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like they just kind of, it really hit a soft spot. They were hooping, they were doing well, and then that game winner by Jamal really just ended the series. It just kind of really just put a nail in the coffin. I feel like if I'm LeBron, if I'm AD, if I'm anyone, I'm not playing. I'm just done. I'm checked out. I'm checked out of the series because that was a real, just a shot to the head. So that was the clarifications to all those to why I said that. It provides a little bit of context to my brain to why I said what I said. It doesn't justify it because it's a grave sin, I know, but pretty obvious what the series was gonna outcome to. Everyone a close sweep, like what the Lakers are already saying. It's a close gentleman sweep.
Not this time.
This
Lakers
time it's
said
a
not
close
this time.
gentleman. Yeah, not this time.
Not this time.
Finger, no way. No, sir. Not this time. And of course, how could we forget? We got some good classics in this. Jamal Murray hit a shot. And the mic drop and angry
He
baby,
like smashed the mic.
and then baby walking out of the shot. And then also LeBron. At the end of the day, it's just basketball. It's just basketball. Cope. Literal cope. That's cope. Cope. You're talking about I'm the GOAT. The GOAT doesn't say it's just basketball. No. Stop it. Cope. That's major cope. So, obviously everybody had the Nuggets winning. I also thought that it would be like a close sweep again, like it was last season, and it really has been that, except for Game 4 or Game 3. No, sorry, Game 3.
Four.
No, Game 4.
Seen the one where the Lakers actually won.
No, Game 3
Oh,
was when the Nuggets comfortably won.
Yeah, game
Yeah.
3 was a comfortable win, and then game 4, the Lakers actually won that one. So I don't know if you can say it was Which it wasn't a close sweep. It's gonna be a close gentleman's sweep.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Close gentleman sweep.
Like-
It's gonna be a close gentleman sweep. It's just hard to beat the Nuggets. They're just so good. They're just as good as last season. Although Jamal Murray was struggling in the beginning of the season series. I didn't tune in for the last 2 games. I did tune in for game 1, game 2. 3 and 4 I have not tuned in. How has he been doing?
still pretty poorly. He's just not hitting a lot of his shots, which is, I mean, this is the nature of being a guard who takes a lot of jumpers. You are liable to have some cold series. Jamal Murray's been incredible in that for the most part in his playoff career, he just hasn't had any of those, despite the fact that his shot diet is so heavily reliant on jumpers.
Yeah, and
I
that's
guess in
what
certain
the-
sense you could
that's
say
why
he was bound to
it's-
have one eventually, but
But that's the problem.
know-
Like, see, here's the thing: if you're a team that needs to win a championship, everything has to work. And if he's not playing
You're
to his
right.
full par, the Wolves are taking it. They are, because he needs to show up
let's
like he
face
was
it.
last season.
Let's face it. He's still Jamal Murray, and we know from experience that he can come alive at any moment. And it's not like he hasn't had his moments even this series. Like that game 2, yeah, he had a terrible first 3 quarters. He was the best player on the court in that fourth quarter, that whole fourth quarter, not just the last shot. He put up, I think, like 14 points, something in that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He was hitting step back middies in the clutch to bring that game home, and obviously the biggest one of all at the end to finish it. But and so obviously even like this current, like right now, Jamal Murray, the guy who's playing in this series, he still has that in him. He just needs to stretch it out over 4 quarters instead of 1. I'm not particularly worried about him, honestly. I think it's just a cold shooting streak. I mean, what are you gonna do? It happens to everybody.
Yeah, we said
It's
that
tough
about
that it
Clay as
happens
well.
in a big series like this. Yeah, well, it's tough it happens in a big series like this, but to be fair, it's not like it's hurt them all that much because they're still up 3-1 and they're going home, and all evidence would suggest they're probably going to bring it home in that game 5. But anyways, like, to do some more broad analysis. Lakers defense pathetic. They've got LeBron is. I mean, look. Let me try to be biased here. Braun is expending a lot of energy on offense. He has to. He's still the primary playmaker on that team at 39 years old. But there's nothing left in the tank on defense. Just the sheer amount of laziness that he has demonstrated in this series on the defensive end is very sad. If I were a LeBron fan, I think I would feel kind of the same way I feel about like watching, Westbrook right now, where you watch my defense just like, wow, like there's just nothing left. He can't even stand for like Aaron Gordon, that game 3, the one that they won comfortably. A lot of the reason they won it so comfortably is because Aaron Gordon was just cooking him on cut after cut after cut after cut, and he wasn't doing anything about it. You can see me just like pointing at other guys on the court, like, oh, go get him. It's like, dog, that's your man. You can't just point at somebody else and it becomes their fault. He's still your guy who's wide open under the basket. They don't have anybody who can check Michael Porter Jr. They're trying to give that job to, I think, like
Austin
Dinwiddie
Reeves, I think.
and Austin Reeves. Like, hey, good luck. Or he's been cooking them. By the way, Jamal Murray's not having a great series. MPJ, guess what? He's picked up the slack. He's having probably the best series of his whole playoff series of his whole career. Probably averaging, I guess, I don't have it in front of me, but off the top of my head, like 18 to 19. Very efficient 18 to 19 too. Hit one of the biggest shots in the entire series. As I said in the moment, sure, Jamal Murray won the game with that step back midi over AD. Michael Porter Jr. kept him in the game with an absolutely ridiculous transition 3 where he catches it moving to his right and forward, his full momentum heading towards the basket, rises up on the second he catches it, drains it. One of the most ridiculous sequences out of any in the playoffs. Completely flipped the game. If he misses that, which I think in real time I expect him to miss it. If he does miss it, game's probably over. Lakers get the rebound. They're up 3. They're going back down the court. It would have been really tough. So that's the beautiful thing about a team like the Nuggets. That's why they won a championship, because they have another guy on their roster who's capable of scoring 20 points on good efficiency when Jamal Murray's having an off series. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, and then AD still can't check Jokic one-on-one. I mean, we knew that. To be fair, AD's been making it up a lot of it on the other end, which is he's doing slightly better in that department than he did last series. Like, he had a good series last series, but on offense he was on and off. This series, he's been on every game. He's been going out and getting 30 for himself. He's doing it in the post. He's attacking closeouts. He's drawing fouls. He's being aggressive. But on the other end, it still doesn't matter. Jokic is just completely toying with him, just messing around and still putting up a casual 30 a game. And that's not going to change. So, Oh, and then one more thing. One last thing before I stop monologuing. Game 4, Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell both have 20 points. That if that's what it takes for the Lakers to win, forget it. I mean, they're not going to both have 20 points the next game. And LeBron has 30 and AD has 25. It's literally requiring the best possible outcome for every guy in that court for the Lakers to make something happen. So, gentlemen sweep, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was just gonna say, like, it seems like in the game 4, it seems like a lot of things have to go right for the Lakers. I think the most critical thing for them to like actually kind of like in the games that they are close or the Lakers are ahead, because they've been ahead a lot and then of course choking a lot of those leads. But when they're ahead, it's because AD is kind of able to win the battle inside against Jokic, and like especially in that game 4, he out rebounded him, like, and they were just getting all the offensive rebounds, all the defensive rebounds they wanted, and AD was able to get the other two guards, their two starting guards, involved more. And I think it's just the winning recipe for the Lakers against the Nuggets is kind of too like a lot has to go right for them to obviously win the game. But looking forward to the I think the reason that AD kind of doesn't match up well against Jokic very well is because there's not really like I think AD's the best strategy for an AD defense to guard Jokic is to have AD more roaming than being the primary defender on Jokic, which is why I think like in 2020 in the bubble, they could have Dwight Howard kind of guarding Jokic and then AD more roaming. And then same with against the Timberwolves. That's why I think that series is going to be more interesting because Cat can kind of guard Jokic one-on-one and then have Gobert roam. But yeah, I think this series is over. I think it's kind of scary because it didn't seem like the Nuggets
No,
really
Wes.
get their
Well, wait a
stride
second,
yet.
Wes. Wait, they
What?
can put Roy Hachimura on Jokic and then let AD
Oh,
roam.
yeah. Yeah,
Remember,
yeah.
that's the adjustment that turned the series for them last year. That was the brilliant adjustment Darvin Ham came up with. It was going to win them the series.
Dude, it
You
just seems
forgot?
like the the one advantage the Lakers have over a lot of teams is like they're bigger than most teams. Like against OKC, that's why I would have been worried for OKC if OKC had to play the Lakers. But the Denver Nuggets are just bigger than the Lakers at basically every position. Like
They're bigger than
usually
everybody
Jokic usually outplays
except for one team,
except maybe the Celtics, I guess, or the Timberwolves. But
Timberwolves. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, Aaron Gordon, he's not bigger than LeBron. Like he's not taller than LeBron, I want to say, but he's definitely like he can kind of match LeBron's physicality.
You
Jokic can
can.
match AD's physicality. Obviously, nobody can really match Michael Porter's size as a shooter or rebounder. So I think it's just the one ingredient that the Lakers have that usually would work against most teams. It doesn't work against Denver because Denver's just better at it than they are, I guess. So yeah, that's my
Yeah,
takeaway.
absolutely. I think everything you guys said was absolutely correct. It was hard not to see the series going any other way. And
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, LeBron came back down 3-1. He's never came back 3-0. So I guess we're gonna have to see that.
Facts.
It's kind of funny. We brought up that one series 3 times this episode. Anyway, so now okay, well you brought it 2 times, so now let's shift over to the Eastern Conference, which is less, I would say, less fiery. The West is just so much fun. There's just basically every series is like there's a lot of fun. Interesting, exactly.
Interesting, except for Pelicans, but
yeah, except for Pelicans. But on the East, it's kind of it's kind of like woo. It's like womp womp. It's like it's whatever. It's nothing crazy. We're gonna start with the Celtics and the Heat. The first seed versus the 8th seed without Jimmy Butler. So, let's one of y'all want to start tackling this first?
Hey, let me go first for the Eastern Conference team. So I'll just start us
Okay.
off. I think this series is going to be a gentleman's sweep. That's my final prediction. But I think it goes back to just the Celtics being too talented, too much talent than the Heat can really handle. I think with Jimmy Butler, this series would have been more competitive. I think the Celtics would still be able to pull it away. But there's some pretty good takeaways for the Heat, I guess. Like Tyler Hero, obviously he can kind of be not the best player on a championship team, but he can definitely be that second ball handler. I think with Jimmy there, this team would be able to there'd be more synergy. Unfortunately, it kind of just takes Bam having like an incredible game with those tough push shots. Their guys shooting good from 3, and then Tyler Hero being like perfectly aggressive, like being able to get his other guys involved, but also a willing shooter, a willing scorer. that's what it takes for them to beat the Celtics. But yeah, I think it's going to be a quick series, one of the least interesting series,
Yep.
unfortunately.
Yep. I totally agree with you. I think the biggest thing for me has been Tyler Hero has improved, and it's very obvious. And I would actually just slightly change your statement. He could be the primary ball handler, but he cannot be the number one guy, I think. That I
Yeah.
definitely agree with. He could be the 1B, I would say. Not even like number 2. He could be a 1B, I would say, because in a tough series, it's a tough matchup. The Celtics are a great defensive team, and he's still able to play well. He's hitting his shots. He's getting to his spot. It's just that unfortunately the Heat don't have enough talent. They don't have enough good players. It
Yeah.
really just comes down to that. They're just not good enough. It really is unfortunate that is the case.
They're down Terry too.
They're down Terry
In
too. That's
addition
another
to-
exactly. So I definitely don't think I agree with you. I see this game either being a gentleman's sweep, this series being a gentleman's sweep or game 6. I think it's either gonna be 4-2 or 4-1 to the Celtics. It's just it's a really boring series, unfortunately. Just because Butler's out, Rozier's out. I mean, the killer of entertainment is just injuries. It's just so unfortunate. It could have been a really fun
Facts.
series, I think. It could have been a fiery series
Oh, yeah.
with Butler and Rozier out there. It's it's just a pretty boring series. And whoever wins, it's a big win too. Like the Celtics won comfortably the first game, then the Heat won comfortably the second game, like 111 to 101, and then the Celtics won the third game. I think they'll win 4-2, 4-1.
Yeah, I mean, not much to add, honestly. Like the Heat, obviously, like they got game 2 and they hit 23 threes in that game, which is, not going to happen again probably. But if it does, I think they can steal another game. And just based on what we've seen from them in recent years, I would see it being a 6-game series. I think they'll be able to steal another game. I think there's a lot of shooters on that team, and when they get hot, they have a way of getting the guys who are hot shots, and they have a way of staying in games. So I can see them stealing another game. But everything you guys have said is correct. Bam still doesn't have it as a number 1. Tyler Hero, he did have a great game too, but he only put up 15 last game, and he looked pretty he was struggling. And they're starting to devote a lot more attention to him, which is smart by the Celtics. They should. He's the only guy on that team who can like run a pick and roll or be his man off a dribble, create his own shot. Like you might as well throw a lot of attention at him. Yeah, I mean, just not that much more to say. Celtics, I will say, I'm still so not sold on them. Their offense is so ugly. They spread it out around the court. They pass it around the perimeter 5 times, and they take a contested 3. So many of their possessions essentially go like that. And we have seen so often that it becomes unsustainable the better and better teams you play. And it looks the same this year. I don't care who they added. I don't care if they added Porzingis. I don't care if they added Drew. When the offense continues to look that ugly, I am still not sold on them. But again, that's getting more into our next episode, which will of course be playoff second round predictions. So we can
Stay
talk
tuned for that,
about
everyone.
that. Stay tuned.
I didn't want to say
We'll
like
talk
this
about
could
that
have been
some
like
more later.
this could have been like a major statement for the Celtics to just like
Yep.
stomp on
Yep.
Jimmy Butler versus
100%.
Miami Heat, but they kind of fumbled that
They still couldn't.
opportunity,
They
to be
still
honest.
are not like, oh man, it's still
Like
like
at least like for the OKC Thunder and the Timberwolves, it's like, okay, are they really legit? And then they come out and they're up 3-0 on their matchups. Like
they
they're
come out
making
swinging.
a blanket statement. Yeah, exactly. But
Absolutely. Celtics, it's like,
Celtics-
yeah, they're winning, but it's not very like I guess the way you kind of describe Thomas is not very they don't have like a consistent way of constantly winning. Like Thomas said, like they're kind of passing
No,
the
they
ball
don't.
around.
They don't. There doesn't seem to be a formula on that offense for
A
like
formula. That's a
what
really
to
good
do
way to
when
put it, yeah.
when possessions bog down, except for just like pass it out to Tatum or Brown or whoever, like Derek White for a contested 3. There's a lot of talent and they're hitting a lot of these shots, but the offense, it has no flow. And now, to be fair, that in a certain sense, that team is actually built more around its defense. Like you have a guy like Drew, who's obviously going to always have some offensive limitations at the point guard position. You have a guy out there
Derek
like
White.
Derek White, who again he's
So
a 3 and D
underrated,
guy.
by
I mean,
the
he's a
way.
great shooter.
I
He's a
feel
great
so
shooter,
sad
but
for him. Come to the Warriors, please, Derek White. Come to us,
Facts.
bro.
I would love it. That would be great. And then you have Porzingis, who's the weirdest player in the entire NBA and who I absolutely despise, not as a person, but as a player. There's something so offensive to me about a guy who's 7'3" and plays like he's 6'8". It's just so horrible. I think honestly that's a lot of what contributes to how ugly their offense is that like he can't really attack mismatches other than to just shoot over guys. So whereas a lot of teams would like try to work like for that mismatch and then like pass it into him, with him it's just like, okay, he's got the mismatch, time for an 18-footer. It's like what is that, dude? I don't want to see that. It's ugly.
He has
So
an ugly game.
maybe, and then also to be fair, you have another master of the ugly offense, Drew Holiday, who has just the most like I don't know how to say it, just this stiff dribble and a kind of weird,
Roblox.
unorthodox looking jumper, not particularly athletic, not particularly quick.
Elite
He's
defender.
strong, I
again-
guess, but
But again, a winning player, and that's why obviously like you got to take the Celtics seriously. Drew Holiday's proven himself to be a winning player. We've seen them go to the conference finals before. We all know the deal. But I still have reservations about the lack of flow in that offense and how it's going to translate to even tougher defenses
Yep.
and to bigger situations in close games. And that's my piece for the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
I
think I think none of us are sold on them. None of us are high on them. I've never been high on them. So they'll win. They'll win though. They'll win in 5 or 6. That's my prediction. Thomas, what was your prediction? You didn't give your prediction.
I said 6.
Perfect. All right,
I
now
think
we're
Eagles
gonna
still win
move
it again,
one
but yeah.
bracket down. We're gonna go to the Cavs and the Magic, and we already gave kind of an earlier opinion on it. It's the battle of the mid. Just battle of who is not less mid, and
I mean,
it's been a defensive battle. That's just really a good way to put it. It's been a defensive battle, and also it's just funny because like the Cavs just like fall off a cliff. Like it's just like it's just like unbelievable. They just forget no one can play basketball. Garland, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like last game, it was like he was just like nowhere to be found. They were just chucking threes. They weren't hitting anything, and it's funny because the Cavs have apparently good rim protecting defense. They have good interior defense. What was happening? I think it was Franz Wagner, the one of the twins, the bigger one, the more built.
not twins.
Yeah, friends.
Sorry, not
No,
twins,
the
the brothers.
smaller one.
Yeah,
But
he
brothers,
was
whatever, same thing.
what he was cooking them inside. He was cooking them inside, bodying them, pump
He
fake,
was
boom. Like, what's going on here? Like,
Specifically, he was cooking Evan Mobley. They were hunting the switch. They wanted Franz Wagner on Evan Mobley. I noticed this. They were like, I swear to God, 5 or 6 possessions, not maybe in a row, but pretty bunched up together, where they hunted a switch, Franz Wagner on Evan Mobley, and Franz just kind of, 1 or 2 dribbles at 3-point line, boom, just attacks him. Kind of similar or reminiscent of Zion against AD in that playing game, where it's a smaller guy just building up his momentum against a bigger rim protector who's playing back, trying to coax him into shooting. But Franz isn't going to shoot, just like Zion wasn't. He's going to use that space to build up momentum and then just run at his man and cook him inside. Franz, obviously, one of his major positives as a player, incredibly crafty finisher, a lot of touch, very skilled finisher. Also, incredible footwork. When he's on the move, he has a real knack for using, the Euro step, or just generally like he uses those 2 steps the absolute maximum that he can to create angles for himself to finish. He's a really fun player to watch. And he was cooking Mobley. I don't know if that's like going to be sustainable. Maybe Mobley like locks in then the next game and figures that out. I don't know if they're going to continue to attack that, whether the Cavs come back with something to try to stop him from getting that switch. But one thing I will point out, like, that's kind of the problem with the Cavs is that when you're playing Mobley and Allen together, it's 2 bigs on the court. And obviously they're both athletic, mobile bigs, especially Mobley, but it's still 2 bigs. And you get guys like Banchero and Wagner who are not bigs, but they're big wings who are going to be getting matchups with true bigs. They can do that. Especially because they're both guys who excel so much at attacking inside, at taking the action to the rim, and getting themselves opportunities to finish. They're going to have that all day. And if they can execute, it's going to look pretty nice. Oh, yeah, one more thing. I will say about the Magic. The shooting performance that they displayed this last game, I don't think it's sustainable. You had Franz, Banchero, Suggs, basically everybody else. Wendell Carter, I think all knocked down multiple threes. We've seen the Magic enough. That's very unlikely to happen again. Now, if it does, we could be looking at maybe, a 6-game series. but I don't think so. I think it's going to even out a bit. Oh, and also Gary Harris has gotten played off the court, and the Magic offenses immediately look better. So they're probably going to stick with that. I think it's given Wagner and Banchero a lot more opportunity to cook. So that's probably going to stay that way. Yeah, that's about all I have.
Yeah, I think like initially to start the series, I thought it was going to be way more of a blowout in the Cavs' favor than I originally anticipated. But like, because I think in the initial games, Mobley was actually playing pretty solid. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland had it going, and then the main kind of deficiency for the Orlando's game was just their offense. Like they had nobody who was able to like make any shots. Basically, like Paolo was like I guess their best guy, but he was settling way too much for jumpers, and the jumpers were just not falling. But that kind of all switched once they got to Orlando, and I think this series is kind of similar to OKC. It's kind of like a good way for this young team, this young Orlando Magic team, to kind of sharpen their teeth in the playoffs and like push this series as far as possible and maybe advance because that's kind of all you can hope for. I don't think they're seriously looking to win anything seriously this year, but this is definitely a good series for them to kind of find out more about who they are as an offense. Because I think defensively, they've kind of proven they're solid. That's why they won so much this year. That's why they were the fifth seed, I want to say, or fifth or fourth seed. But they performed well above expectations this year, and that's because of their defense. But I think the one thing they have to figure out in the playoffs is who's going to be that consistent number one option. And if it's Paolo or Franz, how are they going to get that offense? Like, what's going to be the system? Are they just going to bully inside, or how do they get other guys involved? And then I think kind of moving forward for this Magic, this is kind of a little off topic, but I guess just surround them with more shooting so that it's more kind of conducive to a paint scoring duo like Franz and Paolo are. Because if you're going to be in the paint, then you want other guys around. I don't think Joe Ingles is really enough. Unfortunately, he's like 37 years old, too old to attack closeouts or anything. But I think just surround them
That's
with
what I
more
was saying.
shooters.
Like, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, you have Gary Harris, who's supposed to be that guy, but like, it's not shooting. So what are you gonna do
Yeah.
when you have a shooter on the roster who just can't hit shots? Like, you got to get him off the court because he's not doing anything else. But like I said, I think
I do hope they kind of keep the personnel they have for the most part. Like I like Jalen Suggs,
Yeah.
Paolo, but then just kind of surround them with better shooting because I think the defensive recipe is there. They're just gonna have to find their offense in the way it gels more. But good for them. Good for the Magic. No matter what, it's a win, I guess. No matter how far they push it. But I'm gonna take the I guess the final prediction. It's kind of hard to gauge, honestly, because all the games have kind of been.
Yeah, actually, one more thing. Like, Donovan Mitchell, again, he did this last year too. Incredible game one, decent game two. Series goes on. He's started to disappear. Only had 18 last game. He didn't look that great. He's just missing a lot of shots, and a lot of the stuff that feels like it should be there or is there, where he's getting to the rim, getting shots, using, I mean, because he still has that incredible athleticism and that incredible handle, the fluidity of movement. He can get himself open shots, but he can't hit them. And like, he's the one. He's the clear one.
Very hit or
so
miss.
He's not hitting those shots. Like, what?
He's very hit or miss. Like you said, that game one he was kind of cooking, but if he's not shots not falling, then it's kind of just
I mean it's kind of a struggle, and like Garland is not the guy. Like, Garland is not that guy. He's not going to be like a creator, like a 20 points a game creator in a playoff series. He's clearly built to be more of like a three, like, okay, like he can play point guard and like he's going to run your offense and give you like 15 a game, but he's clearly not built to be even really be a two. So that means a lot of responsibility falls on Donovan Mitchell to create the offense possession after possession. And when he's not doing it, like, that's another one of many parts of one of many pieces of the puzzle as to why the Cavs have looked so bad these last two games. But again, like, he could just as easily come out next game and put up 32 because we know it's Donovan Mitchell. Like, he can do that. So, I mean, I wouldn't count them out. I think it's probably going to go 7, I would guess.
Yeah, I would say
pick the Cavs, but I'm not confident.
I would just say that whoever is the team who wins the first away game, and if no team wins an away game, it's going to be the Cavs. Because obviously they go to home in the 7th game.
Yeah.
I get behind that,
if the Magic could steal a game in Cleveland, I think they win it. But
dude, I'm rooting for them so hard.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I really want the Magic
100%. I really like Paulo. I really like the Wagner brothers.
I think they're a more interesting team, especially against the if they're going to be facing the Celtics in the second round. I think that's a more interesting matchup.
Oh,
but yeah.
100%. I also like Franz Wagner because like his game is kind of like mine. Big man. He has a paint presence. He's got good footwork. Doesn't really have a good shot. And he's a good defender too, no? He's a pretty solid defender.
Probably,
Or
yeah. I want to
You
say
said you
so.
said Franz Wagner, right?
yeah.
He's I mean, unfortunately, like he's not super athletic. He's kind of slow, so that hampers him a little bit. But I mean, he's good from just from what I've been seeing this series.
Sorry, not
I'm not an expert on
Franz,
Franz
bro. I'm talking
Wagner.
about the other brother, man.
Mo
Mo
Wagner?
Wagner's
Franz
barely
is
done
better.
anything.
No, Mo
Dude,
Mo
Mo aggravated the crowd in game one, bro. Mo was talking trash to the Cleveland
Mo
public.
had
bro.
one good game, bro. I could have sworn he had a pretty solid
I think
game.
it was either game one or game two. It was one of the games in
So
Cleveland. Mo was kind of
Mo plays nothing like you, dude. He's skinny. He kind of plays like a big wing,
no.
even though he's a
Mo is
big.
the bigger one. Mo is the bigger
Mo
one.
is the
I know
bigger
Franz
that's
is
what I'm
like
saying. No, but Mo doesn't play like a true big man, guys. Like, do you what? Like,
Maybe maybe
he's
I'm
like a
confusing the brothers.
he's closer to Naz Reid, dude,
I'm confusing
than
the
anything.
brothers. I'm confusing the
That's
brothers.
kind of how he plays.
Okay, ignore what I said, everyone.
Wait.
I confused it. All right.
Franz is the good. Franz is like the legit good one, and then Mo is like his
Yes, Franz is okay, but
bum ass
Mo,
brother.
you do understand. Like, Mo Wagner does not. He's a bigger guy and he's a big man, but he's not playing like a true quote unquote big man. Like he's not a
Right.
great rim protector. He's very athletic for his size and he has great movement skills, but like he doesn't, he's not gonna like post people up, right? That's like not
Right.
most not what he does. But
Right.
anyways, let's
Okay, anyway, so now
Move
let's
on.
move on. So now we're gonna move on to the game that is going on, but Indiana has won it, which is basically ended the series. Indiana has won game 5 and game 4, apologies. And it's now a 3-1 series. So I think it's unfortunate for the Bucks because they never were a championship team. No one really kind of bought into the Dame and Giannis duo. But
What?
what's up?
Nobody.
What's up?
Nobody.
no
Like
one
all
as in
three
like
of us who had them as contenders at the beginning of the year.
did we have them as contenders?
Yes. Yes, it was only
Yikes.
it was only
Ooh.
as the season went on. It was only as the season went on that people look, by the way, you can go back to that episode, by the way. And I said in the episode, I said, look, I know you kind of have to put them as contenders by default because the talent combination between Dame and Giannis is so great. But I said, I think I can say this verbatim, the lack of their defensive leader and team leader in Drew Holiday is going to really hurt them in terms of defensive identity and intensity. And guess what? It really has. Even though without Giannis,
Yeah, actually, now
it's
that
not
I'm
like
thinking
you can
about
really
it, that
judge
is
them based on
true.
this series.
That is true, actually. We actually, especially, I think I was really high on them too, just because on
But even I
paper,
conceded at the end.
yeah.
I said all that, and I was like, but at the end of the day, I'm just kind of waffling. Like,
I also
you
do
kind of
think
have
though,
to say that this is a
no,
contender based on the talent.
but I also do think like unfortunately injuries did screw them as well. So it's like
Oh yeah,
they
for
never
sure.
were really given a full chance, a full shot. So it wasn't like a failed team. So like hopefully no interviewer asks Giannis about a failed season again because he'll just go on a rant about promotion yet again. Like, okay, buddy, calm down. It's like an
Doing all those
insecurity.
hand gestures.
It's like asking a fat dude, about like being fat or something like that. Boom, it's a game over for you, bro. So it's gonna be one of those series where it's like, not it is already one of those series. Pacers have won it. Obviously
You
Giannis
consider
wasn't
this a
there.
failure?
10-hour, like the one dude like on the board, the meme, the GIF where he's like
Yeah, the
putting, like,
whiteboard.
the whiteboard, it's like talking like this, like excuses. It's a failed season. It's a failed season. Like, no offense, this is the biggest cope logic of all time. If you are projected to get a promotion, what does that mean? You're projected to win a chip. You are supposed to win a chip. Then it's a failed freaking season. However, if I'm the Spurs,
Especially since they're not even going to get out of the first round.
not even
That's
get out,
more
it's,
than
it's
that's worse
embarrassing.
than yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think for the Pacers though, it's so the Bucks, it's an obvious problem, the lack of Giannis and then also lack of Dame this game. It's just like that's like, okay, you just have a very mid team if Giannis is not there, and then you take out Dame, it's like, okay. And it's like
Bad bed.
yeah, exactly. So it's a disaster. It's a disaster. So and that's obviously not going to win them games. So the Pacers have officially now taken a 3-1 lead to the series. Shout out them. If you look at the Pacers, it's a good deep team. Miles Turner has been playing really well offensively. Halliburton has not been doing what like his like peak of the season was before. I believe
He's injured, right?
Yeah, he
Like
kind of got
hamstring or
slightly
something?
injured. Yeah, exactly. So before that injury, he was playing.
Bro, every single star who underperforms now is injured. I'm sick of it. Sit out then. And look, by the way, actually, I mean, we'll get to this later, but in case you guys are going to accuse me of being a hypocrite for Embiid, no, I feel the same way.
Yeah. So it's just it's another one of those like kind of anticlimactic series. It's kind of a boring series just because the Bucks are not at full strength and it's just boring. If you don't have
I
a
mean, I think
full
it's
strength
it
team,
has been good to see it has been good to see like Pascal Siakam kind of like I think in most of the games he's been the best player on the Pacers. I don't think overall, like I think in some of the games Dame did outperform him, but Pascal Siakam has kind of slotted right in. And I think this team without Pascal Siakam would be like way they'd probably be out of the playoff picture, especially with how bad Tyrese played towards the end of I almost said
yeah.
the end of the semester, towards the end of the
Woo!
season. But I mean, just like that second option, like he's a legit second option.
Yeah,
He's not no slouch. He's like
could
can
have been with
impose
us.
himself inside. He's one of the dude. That's kind of what I mean. Like, it worked dividends for the Pacers. Like they're making a legit playoff push. They're probably gonna get to the second round and face not insurmountable odds against either the Knicks or Sixers. So I mean it's a win trade in my book. But yeah, I think the Pascal Siakam trade was hit the
Yeah.
spot
It
for the
was.
Pacers fans.
He's been the guy. He's showing off his like turnaround midi, which he seems to have really worked on just even since like I don't know a couple of years ago when he was a more inconsistent shooter. And I mean all the same stuff that he's so great at, just like really just attacking at the rim, using his athleticism, using his lankiness, all his size, his touch to get to the rim. Um, and it fits so well with what they do because they create so much space with all of the action on the perimeter that they give so much room for a guy like that to work. And I think it's really worked wonders for him. He's looked probably the best he has since I mean probably since that one season where he led them to the playoffs. Uh,
Like the bubble, I
and
think.
then on the other side, I would say even before like this game 3 or this game 4 without Dame and they lost now, and I think the series is pretty much over. Like even before that, I thought the series was over anyways. Like without Giannis, the Dame-led offense is so unfathomably
I mean,
ugly.
you're
Like
back to the
this guy does not
Trailblazers.
this guy does not understand how to run the pick and roll. He gets a screen and instead of like like what good players who actually know how to run the pick and roll like CP3 or like Harden or somebody does where they like attack or Trae Young where they like attack downhill and then try to create a 2-on-1 and force the big at the rim like choose like are you going to guard my floater or my my layup or whatever, are you going to like rotate to me and then give up the lob, are you going to have guys help and then it opens up the perimeter? No, Dame runs pick and roll, comes off, doesn't attack them at all, step back three. Like the entire point of the pick and roll is just to get him a contested step back three. And it's just over and over and over and over. He does not understand or he's unwilling completely to be like a quote unquote like because you talk about the heliocentric offense, right? Like with a guy like Luka or Harden, where it's like, okay, everything's going to run through them, but they're distributing, they're creating advantages, they're trying to create advantages for everybody to open up the whole offense. No, he's not going to do that. You run everything through him so that he can take 80 shots a game, every single one of them contested. And when they go in, oh shit, it's Dame time. Oh my god, look at how incredible it is. And when they don't, it's just the most like hair pulling, like
First
mind
round
melting
exits.
thing. Yeah, first round exits thing. I mean, and then not to mention, oh my god, on defense, this guy. I mean, the traffic cone of a traffic cone, just an absolute turnstile. Like you could just put one of those guys like NFL tackle dummies on the court and let guys like kind of step around it. It'd be more effective than Dame because at least Dame wouldn't get in other because at least that wouldn't get in other people's way, which Dame does all the time. He's such a his 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 poor defender. And he doesn't give a shit too. He doesn't even try. He just fucking like stands around, doesn't
Game
rotate,
time.
gets every single shot that is taken on him seems to be made because he's small and he doesn't bother to put any effort into his contests. It's horrible. Yeah. I mean, we've known for a while though he's not a number one guy in it. Not even on a championship team. I guess on a Western Conference Finals team, but barely.
Yeah,
It's more
he's
1A, 1B with CJ, honestly. That year.
yeah, it's
But yeah.
it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Like without Giannis, it's just like when you have Dame running the offense, being that number one guy, you're just kind of back into with a recipe for disaster, like he was with the Blazers, right? It's kind of similar to that situation. Obviously, the Bucks are still better. Obviously, they have better pieces, but more or less, it's like an upgraded version of the Blazers, and that's not what you want. You want Dame to be paired with Giannis ideally. So it's unfortunate because I do really like Giannis and I do like Dame as well. Like I would like for him to get a ring. You know,
Eh,
but but I do definitely like Giannis. So it sucks that it's another year of failure or lack of promotion
yeah.
for Giannis. So I see the Pacers. I don't know if Dame is back next game, but if Dame's back, maybe they get one. I think the Pacers win it in 5 or 6.
I'd say 5. I think they win it. They close it out next game.
I agree.
All right. Now
I
we're
don't
at the
because I just don't think Dame's gonna make it back either. He looked really hobbled at the end of that game 3.
yeah. All right, then we're back to the last bracket of the season. To the
Thrilling
playoffs.
series.
Thrilling series. Look, man, I think the number one thing I have to get off my chest. Look, dude. I've never been a big fan of Embiid just because out of spite
Dude,
of
Brunson
Thomas.
ended with 47.
Oh yeah, he's the first ever
Mhm.
Knicks player to get 40 and 10 in a playoff game. He is him. He is literally him.
My man.
He is insane. But before we get to Brunson, I think for the 76ers, it's just unfortunate because Embiid is not 100%, right? Right, Thomas, you would probably know.
Yeah.
So
He's not.
he's not. So
He's
it's
not.
just one of those series where it's like,
Wouldn't matter.
I mean, all right. I don't know about all that, but I think it's unfortunate because it just really kills the fun of a game. It really just sucks the soul out of a series when you just don't have 100% teams. It's really, really lame, dude. It's so unfortunate, and he's cursed. He must have done something wrong when he was young. Maybe he didn't listen to his parents or something like that. Like his stuff. It really is tough. He seems to have unlucky circumstances surrounding him at all times because Tyrese Maxey's a goddamn hooper. Holy crap, he's so good. He's so good. It's actually crazy. Like Kelly Oubre is having like a revival. Like when he was with us, he was so bad, and it seems like everyone who leaves us is just gets better. Freaking
Best looking on the
DiVincenzo.
team, though.
DiVincenzo, holy crap. What the hell? Where was that when you were with us? Where the frick was that?
Really, oh my God. I mean, he was
So
miscast here, obviously. Like he was playing a role that he probably shouldn't have been, but
still,
I
dude,
mean,
he wasn't even
you
hitting
know.
shots like he's hitting with the Knicks. Like he's going crazy. He's hitting
Yeah,
bombs,
no,
bro. So I think it just comes down to who had the best players on the court. Brunson is the best player on the court with the hobbled Embiid, obviously, and just the Knicks have good defense. They have good offense. Like OG was such a nice pickup for them. Holy moly, what a nice pickup.
Yeah.
I wonder how they would look with Randall. It's
Even
funny.
better.
Wow,
Even
bro.
better.
Wow. Ooh, the New York accent. We got a New York native right here. Actually, Wes was born in New York and he lived there until he
Hey,
was
I'm
6.
walking here.
He lived in New York till he was 6. So he moved
Literally.
to California. I'm not gonna say where we live. You know what I mean?
From the Bronx to the Bay.
To the Bay. Oh, thanks for doxing us, I guess. So
The entire Bay Area. I just doxed the entire Bay.
so I see the Knicks just taking it in 5, maybe 6, maybe. But yeah, it's a pretty anticlimactic series. Thomas seems the most
Can I
pain.
talk
yeah, I
about
mean,
So let's
Hey,
wait,
hey.
let's let Wes go because you have like the most pain. You have
Yeah.
the most involved in
huh.
this. So go ahead, Wes.
Jeez, like whimpering and shit. What the hell was that? I mean, I think this team, like I in the Eastern Conference, I think this team puts up the best fight against a team like the Celtics, and that's just based off of how deep they are. Like in the first 2 games in New York, Jalen Brunson wasn't playing incredible. He was the third best player on the court. Tyrese Maxey and Embiid were the best players in the series, so up to that point. But it was just based off of their role players playing up to a higher standard than I think the Celtics role players are even capable of. Like Josh Hart, one of the best rebounders, under like 6'5", I want to say, or something like that. OG Anunoby, as you said, of course, one of the best 3-and-D guys in the league, doing more than he's signed up for. DiVincenzo, former Warrior, one of the best marksmen in the league now, and they're just winning games based off of like. But the first 2 were like based off of friendship, of course, friendship and effort. And then now it's just like Jalen Brunson. He's entering like he's the Jalen Brunson we saw last year in that Heat series where he's playing up to Jimmy Butler's superstardom level. Like Jalen Brunson has just playing incredible, 47 point double double, 10 assists. First, was it first Nick or first like
Nick.
First
NBA?
Nick ever.
Okay,
Nick.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
So-
history. Right? That's history right there. I mean, Melo didn't do that, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
no, it's big history because the Knicks are like quote unquote a very historic franchise. They haven't done crap, but deep history. You know what I mean? Spike Lee's been standing on the
rings, 2
freaking
rings.
Spike Lee's been standing at courtside, just jumping up and down for nothing. But hey, man, so shout out Nick history, staple Nick
but I-
history.
Honestly, I don't know if this is like a hot take, but I think in a Celtics series, I think Jalen Brunson can soundly outplay Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum's and it's kind of getting too far. I guess I'll just keep it to the
Yeah,
Sixers.
Keep it in
I
that.
mean-
Hey, calm down, Bucky. Hey, Bucky.
But I think-
but you know,
But I mean, I do want to give the Sixers props because I think with a healthy Embiid, the series is way closer, and it might even swing in the Sixers' favor. I think these two teams are primed to. These two teams would be primed to that's primed to beat the Celtics in the Eastern Conference, but unfortunately Embiid's injured. But like you said, Tyrese, he played superb in that one game that the Knicks like basically stole at the very end. Tyrese was playing incredible up to that point, right before he basically like handed the ball to the Knicks for them to for DiVincenzo to hit that shot. But these are two great teams, and this is when, even though it's a 3-1 lead, I think this has been one of the more competitive and more interesting series because we're finding out a lot about how good Jalen Brunson can be as that number one guy. He's playing better than Embiid. Obviously, Embiid's hobbled, but he's playing up to a superstar level in the playoffs, and it's great to see. Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, OG. Trying to think if I'm missing any Knicks guys that played pretty well. I'm trying to think. Hartenstein, of course, Mitchell Robinson. Those two guys are like Embiid's kryptonite. Not that anybody can really slow down Embiid, but those two guys do as good of a job as anybody. And I think it's just good that the Knicks kind of have size in the right spots for a guy like Embiid to kind of. I mean, you got to have size.
You
where
gotta
it counts,
always
you
have
know?
size in the right spot.
But I think those guys can kind of just Embiid's like obviously it's part of his game is like drawing fouls, and those three guys are as good as it. Presicu is the third guy I was talking about. Not up to the same standard as a Robinson and Hartenstein, but still it's a pretty deep center position, especially defensively. They can kind of deal with all of Embiid's physicality and foul drawing and all that. So I think this team is just it can match the size of certain other contenders in the field. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great take. I think let's just leave it up to Thomas now to cry away. To this could be a therapy session now. Just go,
yeah, well,
Thomas.
It's all good.
Let it loose, buddy.
I mean, look. First off, let's get one thing straight. The one game the Sixers have won in this series, Embiid put up 50. So already that's kind of emblematic of a lot of things of how this series has gone. Like the other games, sure he's put up like 30, whatever. It wasn't good enough. Now, with that being said, when a player is hobbled and slow, it generally shows up more on defense than it does on offense because they're going to expend more of their energy on offense just naturally for most players, just naturally. Joel Embiid on defense this series, pretty fucking abysmal. Like he's just not playing the role of the rim protector they need him to play. He's slow on switches, or he's just not bothering to get over on rotations at all. Late rotating to the rim, getting cooked one-on-one repeatedly. And I mean, some of this is just because he's a bigger guy. He's not. I mean, obviously he's very athletic, very mobile, considering how large he is. It's actually kind of insane how mobile he is, but a lot of that's gone with the injury, and it's just looks so ugly. On the other end, he's very much leaning into his foul baiting bag. I mean, to a certain extent, like it's what's working. Why go away from it? As I always say, you want to blame it on anybody, blame it on the refs for giving it to him. You wouldn't do it if it didn't work. And at the same time, the best game he had this series, it wasn't even mostly. I mean, sure, he did get a lot of free throws a game, but the what his kind of signature moment was that he hit 3 threes in a row to close out the third quarter and basically put the game out of reach. I mean, obviously, like the Knicks could have come back, but like it opened up a lead that never went away, and that was a great moment from a great player, and you love to see it. But at the end of the day, even on offense, it's still a lot of the same problems 5 years later. The Knicks are sending late doubles on him. He cannot figure them out. He's either A, turning the ball over, B, jacking up tough contested mid-range shots that aren't generally going in, or C, making the pass too late, and by that time the Knicks have already recovered. Yeah, and I mean, I think before this playoffs, like there was I was trying to make a comparison. It's like, okay, you could hope that the Sixers could try to replicate with Maxey and Embiid what the Nuggets do with Jamal Murray and Jokic. Obviously, Embiid's not the same level of playmaker, so it's going to hamper some of that. But like they're going to try to emulate it. But the reality is, like, and I think that's what the series has made clear is that Embiid is just such a tier down a playmaker that doesn't really work. He just gets trapped too easily, and there's nothing else really to say. He gets trapped too easily, and good defenses, good coaches, good teams, they're going to make him pay for that. Maxey, very, very frustrating. Incredible series. You don't want to fixate on individual plays, but it's hard to ignore the fact that if he has the wherewithal, the mental, wherewithal to not just roll that ball on the ground in game 2, Sixers probably win that game. I guess you could also blame it on Nick Nurse for not calling the timeout in that situation. I think that the fan base is mostly
he did call a timeout, but they just ignored his
pump faked it. He pump faked it. He didn't. They've shown it. He went like this, like he was about to, and then he changed his mind and took it down. And then he saw that Tyrese Maxey had given up the ball, and he tried to it, but possession's already gone. He can't do it at that point.
Fair.
I mean, and but that's at the end of the day, you can't pin it on Tyrese Maxey for having one slightly, one brain fart, especially when he had such a great game, the rest of that game, and it's such a great series throughout the series. I guess what you could say is we've seen teams come back from 3-1 before. Every single one of these games has been incredibly close. If you asked me to put money on it, I'd put money on the Knicks all day. But if you ask me, is it possible? I'd say very much so. And after all, if they take the next game and you're heading back to Philadelphia with a little bit of momentum, with you're going home, you're feeling good, and then you maybe push to 7. Now, I think most likely it just ends up ending next game, ends up being a 5-game series. Hey, look, Embiid could always put up another 50 bomb for all the struggles that he's clearly had, the stuff that he has been doing well in offense, aka shooting the 3, and when he's able to attack before they get the doubles on him, he's been really good about either getting to the rim or drawing fouls. Mostly it's drawing fouls because he's just such a big physical presence. It's just really, really difficult to defend a guy like that without fouling him. And let's face it, he's the goddamn grifter, and he knows every trick in the book to make sure to accentuate all the content that he gets. He has the head fakes, the wild, arm movements. He has it all. He's very good at it. And but I think that's really what it's going to take. Is he's going to have to be so supremely aggressive attacking before they get those doubles on him, to the point that they can't disrupt the offense in the way that they've been able to do for the most part. And then, like, again, it's tough you can't look like a guy like Kelly Oubre. He's been great. Like, he's been the assignment that he's been given is Brunson for the most part.
What about Tobias Harris?
And with the exception of God,
Hooper
names. I don't even have words. I don't even have words. Look, I'm not even saying anything about him because everybody already knows he's a fucking bum and the most overplayed player in the league, and a guy who's just literally guaranteed to disappear in a playoff series. Like, there is no. I mean, if you took out of all 500 or ever players that are in the league, I don't know how many there are. You took one guy who you could guarantee is going to underperform in a playoff series, it's going to be Tobias Harris. The lack of aggressiveness that he has, the lack of seeming desire or will to actually win basketball games is just bizarre. It feels like he's come from an alternate universe where the goal is to lose, and so he's trying to find all of these little hidden ways to hurt them. Like that's his secret goal or something. I mean, of course, shocker, he's having a bad shooting series too. So even when he's getting the open threes that are just, it's not like he's creating them, but he's getting them. He still can't knock them down. Sucks. What I was going to talk about is Kelly Oubre also having a great shooting series. You can't blame him though. He's been great. He's been doing what the job they're giving him, which is playing perimeter defense, primarily on Brunson. Sure, it's Brunson. He's going to cook them like he did today, but he's mostly been doing great. Batum, who had that great playing game. It's Nick Batum. I mean, you can hype him up all you want. It's Nick Batum. He's not going to be putting up 40 for you. So
Nick Batum in his prime though.
in his prime though.
The
In
Blazers?
his
Little 22 bomb
prime. Yes, sir.
he could give you, but not nowadays. And he's just a little bit too slow to really play great perimeter defense anymore. So he's been mostly getting played. Buddy Hield, oh my god, dude, this guy. I mean, it's not like he's a
Bummy
playoff
Hield.
legend, but I was expecting him to
Bummy
have a better shooting series than he did. That's really been hurting them because like when you have a guy like Embiid who draws so much attention, you need to be able to punish it. Hasn't happened.
Shouldn't have traded Seth Curry.
And look, shout out like the three guys you highlighted. Shout out Robinson, shout out Hartenstein, shout out Ichua. They've all done great jobs. Sure, Embiid's like been quote unquote cooking, but a huge part of dealing with a guy like Embiid is just making it difficult enough, making him expend energy so that he can't go down on defense and put in the effort he'd like to, holding him up until you can get the doubles on him to try to disrupt the offense, all that stuff. It's Tom Thibodeau, it's the Knicks. They play hard-nosed defensive basketball. Like they're going to do a good job. If this series, my prediction is it goes 6. I think
Really?
I don't know how to describe it. I have this weird feeling that they're going to go out and like Embiid's going to have a great game next game, and all of a sudden people are going to be talking about a comeback, and then it just all falls apart in game 6. I can't really explain it rationally. It's just a feeling I have.
Sounds good.
But
Makes sense.
But if they're going to win it, it's going to be heroics by Embiid. So we'll see.
Yeah,
I agree.
I would be behind that. I think ends in 6. I don't see it.
I'm gonna say
going-
5 though.
All right, we respect that. So now we've covered all the brackets. Now let's just summarize what we believe are going to be the conference semifinals matchups. We're not going to talk about them. It's going to be when the first round ends. But so starting from the left, it's going to be in the Western Conference. So our prediction is it's going to be Thunder. My prediction is it's going to be Thunder and Mavs in the conference semifinals.
Same.
Okay, Thomas thinks it's
And I
going to
think
be.
it's going to be Thunder's Clippers.
All right, cool.
Sorry, I said Thunder's. Thunder
And then
Clippers.
the
Luka Hater at his
Luka
finest.
Hater, exactly. I think the rest of the brackets are the same for us. I have the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. Ooh,
Yep.
oh man,
that's gonna be-
It's going to be a great series.
That's gonna be the best series of the playoffs. I cannot wait.
Anthony Edwards.
Oh man, it's gonna be elite.
Oh, man.
So that's the same for all of us. Then on the Eastern Conference side, we have the Celtics, and I have the Celtics. And honestly, I don't
I'm gonna say
even know.
Magic. I'm gonna say Magic.
I'm gonna say Celtics
think
and
it'd be more
hopefully
entertaining.
Magic.
I'm
but
going to have to say
I
it
could have
too.
either of them. I could have either of them. It's just really like I
Actually,
said.
no, I'm going to have to be true to. My first instinct was Cavs, and I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say Celtics Cavs.
My instinct.
Wait, who'd you
is-
say? So?
I think it's gonna be. I guess if I were to say a team, the Magic, but I really don't think there's any real clear cut ahead person. Like I said earlier in the episode, I think it's gonna be Celtics versus whoever is able to win an away game, or the Cavs.
Game
So
7.
I may actually just say the Cavs, to be honest. I think it may be the Cavs. I don't know. Again, I'm really question mark here, but I guess for the sake of putting a definitive answer, I'd say Celtics and Cavs. And then the last bracket, we all have the Pacers and the Knicks.
Yep.
So exciting
All right.
scene, exciting stuff. We're gonna catch you all in the next one.